Yes, right. It's another Rick Corey Sports Special, and that is Josh Blankenship, the head football coach at Broken Arrow, with a tremendous looking hat right there from the Patriot Bowl. This brought to you by the way, Accident Care Center of Tulsa. We want to tell you a whole lot more about them, the Tulsa Accident Care Center folks, as we go through the day. But I want to tell you thank you very much for you guys for sponsoring this segment. All right, Josh, you have been through 4 or 5 games. You've seen kind of how your team has started. You talked about the youth and the kind of resiliency. Had a tough one against a very tough football team, but now that you've looked back at the film, how do you feel?
Obviously disappointed to not win. And we're not looking for moral victories,
Right.
but if to answer the question, I'm ecstatic about our team. We know that Owasso's the standard right now,
Yeah.
and it's one of the first times in a long time that I've gotten beat, and within an hour, um, I want to put the ball down and run it back and play again. So our kids feel the same way. They understand it's a race through the regular season to see who can improve the most. And we know what the standard is and what we're chasing after. If we don't come out and turn the ball over in back-to-back possessions in the second half in our own territory,
Yep.
obviously it's a different game. And we were excited coming out to play that second half, and then we messed it up. And then obviously a good team like that's going to take advantage of it and expose it.
But one of the more important things when that happens to a young team is how they recover. And
Right.
I've only seen parts of your game because I was broadcasting a different one. How do you think your kids bounce back from those points of disappointment?
Oh, in the game, they responded really well. The defense was flying around against a ginormous offensive line with a lot of speed on the edges, and probably our best defensive game we've played is in spite of the situations our offense put them in. Our offense did a lot of really good things for the majority of the game, and then obviously in the fourth quarter we got our best player back, who was serving a suspension for 3 quarters, but Octavian Roberson coming back in the fourth quarter. I think he rushed for over 100 yards on just a couple of carries. And it's apparently obvious that if he's in the game for 4 quarters, it's a different game as well. And that's not to make a point, but our kids know that. Our kids do a really good job of turning the page and really buying into that 1-0 mentality. And so Saturday we were right back to work. Everybody was here for the lift. Everybody was here for film and excited to get ready for the next one against Yukon.
All right. So you said, you're ready within an hour to put it down and start again. Is that because you got that feeling from them? Did you start looking at
Yeah.
film already? Tell me how that came about.
No, it was the kids in the locker room after the game. They knew we had a shot to beat those guys, and we screwed it up. And wish you could do it again right away, but we got to wait all the way until the playoffs come around.
Yeah, I got you. All right. But that is encouraging. You want to see that fight from your group. And you told me all year long, and actually the last couple of years, you liked what you were building in this
Mhm.
group. Are they coming along at the rate you kind of thought they would?
I think they're ahead. They haven't experienced a whole lot of winning, so they're trying to learn how to win. The difference between this year and last year is we're more mature, we're more talented, guys are physically more developed. So all those kids that were little bitty talented kids are now big grown up talented kids. Now the next step is, we've had to try to learn it through kind of a gauntlet of really good teams, really good opponents. But closing that last couple of inches of learning how to finish a game, learning how to win, that's that last big hurdle.
To me, when you say learn how to win, there's a lot that goes into that. It's not over celebrating when you do, it's making sure that you don't get your head too big, but it's also understanding there are times in a game where you got to put your foot down. And you
No
may
doubt.
have a lead on somebody or some of those. There's so much that goes into that. When you say learn how to win, what are you approaching it? What do you mean?
It's all those things you said. I mean, there you could point to one game in particular where we had a significant lead and we weren't able to put our foot on their throat and finish it. There are those games where we've got to battle back against a really good team that we're trailing, and we're capable of overtaking them, and we got to learn how to do that. There's an overtime game that you've got to go for two and finish it and take the win. So I mean, there's a variety of different approaches, and we address them all in situations in practice on a regular basis, but getting better at those and going out and finishing, and for 4 quarters plus.
Yeah. Well, considering what you've told me about your team, what I'm thinking as I'm about to ask this question is it's going to be kind of a dub, but I'm assuming you're still seeing that look in their eye at
Oh yeah.
practice and game and all, right?
It's an amazing group that knows exactly who we are. I think there's still a lot of teams, I would imagine, trying to find their identity.
Yeah.
That is not our issue. Our kids are very confident in what we're doing, very confident in one another, very confident in their coaching staff. And it's a matter of putting one together here and getting on a run. And we think we're about to do that.
Let's talk about Yukon. Before we do that, I want to say thanks again to Tulsa Accident Care Center. Full range of services for accident care. Now, when I say that, you might think it's your car. No, this is for you. And having been there before, is because we've all had accidents or fender benders or things. You realize what it's like when you have to run all over the place to find 5 or 6 different people. But at Tulsa Accident Care Center, you're going to have on-site imaging providers, physiotherapy, physical therapy, all in one place. So if you are, coming home to and from a game or home from anything else, including that guy that whacks you in the parking lot at the grocery store, Tulsa Accident Care Center. Find that full range of services at tulsaaccidentcarecenter.com. All right. So when you look at UConn, it's one of those games to me that they've got talent. They haven't shown it necessarily on the field yet, and they've just been good enough to win occasionally, bad enough to lose occasionally. I don't know what to say about them other than, they're one of those middle of the road Oklahoma City teams. What do you see?
You know, you have to look at every team in 6A1 as a team that can bite you, like absolutely get after you, because that is the reality. And so it's not something you have to convince yourself of. Our kids even know that. So they've got some really talented kids on their team. But overall, as you see or would expect, it's the contrast between what we've been playing the past few weeks and what we're about to play. That's definitely different. The speed is different. The size is different. Um, you know this, it isn't coach speak. It doesn't matter. It's about us and it's our preparation through the week. Are we going to have the same sense of urgency and preparation through this week that we had last week for Owasso? It's easy to get geeked up to go play the standard, but how are we preparing? Because it's a long-term investment. If we're talking about being red hot come the playoffs, how much are we improving this week? It doesn't matter who we're playing on Friday.
Have you seen that this week?
Absolutely. I'm telling you, I wish people could come watch our practices. We have a special group that is bought in at a level I don't know if I've seen in a long time.
What do you see at UConn? Anything there that you look at and say, okay, that's a point we got to pay more attention to, that kind of thing?
Yeah, we point out a couple of guys that could be problems defensively going against our offense, guys that we need to be aware of how they can disrupt some things, how they're going to try to disrupt some things. Offensively, they try to throw the ball. I mean, like arena football. I mean, it's almost every down. So being alert for how many shots they're going to try and take down the field. But also, you also spin it as an opportunity to get a bunch of sacks and interceptions.
Sure. Well, and more than anything else, district. You continue to spend it for district and district points and those kinds of things because you want as much as you can to build those district points up. And I know something, at least I know they talk about it in a lot of places. Do you talk about it to your guys?
We spend a lot during the bye week talking about the nuances of points, even the funky rules about points and overtime,
Right.
why we might still be calling things a certain way at the end of the game because of the points. So our kids have a pretty good understanding of that for sure.
And I think it's important, that they understand. And we do know second season type stuff. We have also gotten, it's kind of a unique here, at least to me, it seems warmer this time of year than it has been. Has that affected practices at all?
No, I mean, it is definitely warmer, without tracking any models or anything. It's been hot, and I've made the comment, it's October, right?
Right.
It's,
Exactly.
but, our kids are used to that August heat, and it is not that August heat right now. So
Right.
our kids are enjoying it.
On the flip side of that, we had at least up at the Union game against Santa Fe, it ended in the probably high 50s, low 60s. Still
Mhm.
had a lot of guys cramping because it's harder to convince them to drink
No doubt.
when it's not hot, when it's not as hot and it gets cooler at night about now. You have any problems with any cramping or any of that kind of thing at practice?
Definitely not at practice. I think the first two games we had a little bit of it, but our guys have been pretty good. Your opponent being geeked up to play a big time team,
Sure.
will trick you into doing the right things with your body, that your coaches are actually telling you need to do. So I think we've done a pretty good job of that. Now, moving forward, it's still got to be something we focus on.
Considering that how much you told me you love this football team, I got to think for you even, you look around and go, we're almost halfway through the season here. That's crazy.
It is. It goes by fast. I think it goes by even faster when you love the group that you're working with, and they're a lot of fun to go to work every day. It absolutely flies by, and it's
It,
amazing every year.
it is, it's great to love your job, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah. All right, I want to say thanks again to Tulsa Accident Care Center for sponsoring Coach Blankenship. Good luck at home. It's nice to be at home. Good luck
No
at
doubt.
home against Yukon, Josh.
Thank you, brother.